here from IGN Southeast Asia, and this week we're ghosting into the land of Japan. Is that how you say it? Ghosting. Isn't ghosting like you're disappearing? No, you know what? Never mind. Forget it. Forget I ever said that. What I'm trying to say is today we're going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm going to be real with you guys. This game wasn't really on my top 10 games to look out for this year, but I am so glad I was able to review this game because it is currently my 2020 most favorite game, and I'ma tell you why. But before that, contrary to what my friends think, this game is nothing like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Ghost of Tsushima is an open world RPG exploration game which has you, Sakai Jin, one of the two surviving samurais from the war against the Mongols, do whatever it takes to win your home's freedom once more. An internal struggle happens inside of Jin as he decides between following the honorable samurai code or going against their code to win against this brand new enemy. So let's talk about the story. This is the best part about the game. By story, I don't mean just the main storyline is great. Of course it's great. I'm talking about every single side quest story being awesome. From the major side quests all the way to the teeny tiny NPCs you meet at the side of the road. Yes, that's how great the storyline is. So each side quest, as I mentioned before, regardless of how short or how long it is, has their own unique tale to it. Each NPC has been fleshed out well with their own interesting story, which makes side quests so worth it to complete. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Usually, when you play these kind of games, side quests is usually very grindy. They have you do the fetch quests, they have you do the kill quests, and honestly, even though the reward is great, but it's very, very repetitive. But not this one. There are mechanics of this involved, such as kill quests and collecting, but the thing is, they packaged it nicely in such a good and interesting story that doing these things aren't a chore, and it's worth following each and every one of the story. Because of that, I found that I am so eager to do every single side quest given, and I don't feel like moving forward the story until I've done every single one of them. So let's talk about the storyline in general. It's actually quite cliche if you were to say it. Just contradicting what I said earlier, I know, but the thing is, the way they tell the story, the way they spin the tale is just so engaging and so good to the point that I don't feel like it's a cliche story if you think about it. And that's what really gets me about this game. The setting, the cinematics, and how they tell the story is just one of the best ones I've seen this year. I absolutely love how they created every single NPC and side character from the game. And you have an arrogant teacher, a woman who's so hell-bent on revenge, and an uncle who is so strict on the samurai code. And there's a lot more in there, and these are just a few on the top of my head. And this game really knows how to highlight humans when facing the reality of war, because despite everything that's so awful with war, you have all the dead bodies around you, towns are burnt down, there's still beauty in the world if you look hard enough. So my favorite bit in this game is the strong women portrayed. It doesn't feel like they're there for the sake of it, because they do carry such a firm and strong storyline with them as well. It doesn't feel like I'm being forced to look at this representation, and I believe that in every single game, this is the way to go when it comes to representation. And oh my god, since I'm on this topic, I just want to tell you guys how much I love Lady Masako. You will meet her in the game, and she is so awesome. So far, I've played over 30 hours of this game, and I'm not even this close to being bored of it. Usually, I hit a sort of plateau when I play open world games where I get a little bit tired of doing repetitive things over and over, but not for this game. There's always something new to do. And sometimes, you know, you get to do these really cool things when you're wandering around and you're looking for objectives, and then suddenly you'll see a town over there taken over by Mongols. And you know what you can do? You can liberate the town. You can go in, katanas blazing, and just beat the crap out of everyone, and then liberate the town. And when I run in, every single time, I will always yell, "It's time to liberate!" And the thing is, when you do these side quests and even these objectives, you get legend points, which actually helps your legend grow, or to put it simply, to level up. There's not a lot of stats going on in the game, but there are a few things that make your gameplay better. Your armor can change depending on how you want to play the game, and also to enhance the gameplay, there are also charms throughout the map which you can get by following foxes around from fox dens to the fox shrines. And you can even go and find these shrines and honor them as well, which leads you to some major charms as well. So earlier I mentioned fox dens, right? Okay. Guys, every single time you go to one, you can pet a fox. If that's not 10 out of 10, I don't know what to say, okay? You get to pet a fox. Okay, on top of that, in terms of stats, you get to level up your HP though by resting in hot springs that you can find throughout Tsushima. And you can also level up your resolve by doing the bamboo cutting minigame. So resolve is basically your MP, which you can use to perform special attacks. So this bamboo minigame that I talked about is actually kind of tough, where you need to memorize a series of button presses and do it fast enough before time runs out. The thing is, I actually struggled so much with this. Thank goodness that you can actually turn off the timer by going into the settings of the menu under accessibility. Exploration in the game is made so simple that a dummy like me with terrible navigational skills can still manage to find her way. You can actually put a pin anywhere on your map and you don't have to worry too much about looking for the compass and walking straight to the compass because you are guided by the wind. All you gotta do is swipe up on your touchpad. So sometimes while you're traveling, you'll find a golden bird. So make sure you follow this golden bird because it does bring you towards some really interesting treasure. Now let's talk about combat. So the game follows the hack and slash way, but that doesn't mean you can brute force your way through with just the attack button. According to Bruce Lee, in order to win combat fights, in order to win fight, you must be like water. By water, I mean let the enemy strike first and you parry on the right time and it grants you an insta-kill. But if you're like me and you're not a very patient person, you can brute force your way with heavy attacks, but you must have the correct stance. So these stances come in four. There's the moon stance, there's the water stance, and so on. And these stances can also be leveled up with your technique points. So now let's talk about technique points. Technique points is used to unlock certain skills and different abilities. It's not really just like one combat tree. It's actually a series of many different skills in different trees. I don't know how to explain this, but you'll be able to see it in the game itself. So a lot of stuff in the game is mostly vanity items, which is great for me because I absolutely love doing fashionscape for samurais. Only armors really affect the gameplay on how you play and how you react to enemies. You can get these throughout the game by buying from merchants or even going to Pillars of Hope. So overall, the gameplay mechanics are super fun and I always seem to find joy whenever I'm out there killing people. And talking about killing people, there are two ways to go about it. You can either go in with katanas blazing and going just Rambo, just slashing your way through the bad guys, or you can be sneaky. Yes, this is what they're talking about, going against the samurai code. You can go around like a ninja, or in the case of the game, call it a thief, or I'd rather call it a ghost-like way. And you go around and assassinate enemies. So one thing that I don't really like about the combat are standoffs. So standoffs happen when you just notice your enemy and you call out the best one, and you can do that really cool 1/1 kill moment that you see in anime. But the thing is, after you do it around like, I don't know, 20 times, it can get pretty repetitive. Cinematics. I'm sure many of you guys have been excited about the game due to how beautiful the cinematics were during the trailers shown, and you are absolutely right because the game is awesomely beautiful. Wow, awesomely beautiful. That's another way of putting it, isn't it? It really manages to capture the feel and the essence of feudal Japan, making it so relaxing just traversing throughout the island on your horse. And the sound engineers did such a good job with the ambient sounds, which really helps to immerse me into the game. And you know what? I don't want to get out. My favorite and most relaxing sound is riding my horse on wooden or stone ground and just listening to the wind as I ride. After playing The Last of Us Part 2, man, I have to say it's hard for me not to notice the characters' facial features. You know, they are beautifully done, but unfortunately, it doesn't really convey emotion very well, and the lip sync when the characters talk doesn't match either, which can break immersion. Also, another thing I was kind of disappointed about is the use of their assets. Sometimes certain houses and certain characters are repeated over and over, and as someone who has been grinding the game, it's hard not to notice that. So let's go back to talking about cinematics. If you do have a PlayStation Pro, you can upgrade your graphics to a higher setting. Yes, they give you the option. And if you have a 4K TV, you can upscale it even more to 4K. So if you guys own a PS4 Pro and a 4K TV, let me just tell you how jealous I am of you guys. Another problem I have in terms of cinematics is there are parts that can be a little hard to see in game, especially when it's at night or when it's a thunderstorm or even in the dusk of evening where it's suddenly so bright that everything's washed with orange and I can't really see around me. I'm not really sure if this is intentional or not, but it does make it a little annoying to navigate around. And there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima. The game comes out on the 17th of July, so there's still time for you guys to pre-order the game, and I highly recommend you to. You can tell that a lot of love was poured into the game, so great job, Sucker Punch Studios. Great freaking job. Anyways, if you guys like to see more of the game, you can join us in our live stream of the game on the 16th of July, 8 p.m. This is in GMT plus 8 on our official Facebook page, which I'll link down below. Okay guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!